The Conservative MP for Mid-Buckinghamshire, Greg Smith, has asked ministers whether they'll reverse incoming cuts to business rates relief. Now, business rates relief drops from 75% to 40% next month. And Greg Smith joins me on the line now. Good morning to you, Greg.
Morning.
Thank you for joining us on the show. Just for those of us who aren't up to speed with how business rates work and stuff, could you explain it in layman terms, the benefits of these relief drops that businesses get?
So we brought in business rates relief when we were in government to relieve the pressure that small businesses, particularly high street businesses, hospitality businesses, were feeling. These are businesses that really struggled, obviously, while they had to be shut through the pandemic, but then really struggled to reopen again and get a customer base back in again as pandemic restrictions were lifted, and the margins were just too tight, and the business rates bills was quite literally killing their businesses. So we put in a 75% relief on business rates. Actually, it was 100% at the pandemic, but 75% was where we left it as we lost the election last year. And actually, that was still critical for businesses. Adding that bill onto their bottom line was just too much. Most couldn't afford it. And, for example, Rums's, popular chocolatiers in Wendover in my constituency, emailed me the other day, which I raised on the floor of the House with business ministers yesterday, saying that the reduction in business rates relief plus the increase in employers' national insurance has already meant that they've had to, this is a horrible thing for them to have to do as a business, make redundancies, cut some staff that they're keeping's hours, and they're basically not expecting to even break even with some of the other tax increases we're seeing from this government. My point to ministers is, if they carry on like this, they're going to kill our high streets. And, my constituency, Wendover, Prince's Risborough, Great Missenden, thriving, beating hearts of communities. If we lose them, that's going to really take the heart and soul out of towns in my patch and up and down the country.
Greg, but the government will point out the 22 billion black hole that was left by your party. They say they need to make savings. I mean, and this is a way of clawing back and filling in that black hole that you left them.
Well, firstly, the OBR has never stacked up this claim of 22 billion. It's a soundbite they like to come out with all the time, but it's never actually been stacked up by anyone independent or anyone that's actually looked at the detail of the numbers. But I would really gently point out to everybody that if there aren't jobs in the economy and people aren't working and businesses go bankrupt and have to close their doors, then that means even less money coming into the exchequer because there is less wealth being created, there are less wages being paid, there are less businesses trading. Yes, tax is always a difficult balance, but anything that destroys jobs and that shuts down businesses is actually going to have a more devastating effect on the overall financial picture.
So you are concerned for the future of the high street then, if this current climate and with the drop of business rates relief then to 40% from next month?
Yeah, absolutely. Virtually every small business I speak to in my constituency, the example of Rums's that I raised on the floor of the House yesterday really highlights that. It's a concerning time. The hospitality sector in particular, hospitality is actually a cornerstone of a lot of our high streets, pubs, cafes, coffee shops, that sort of restaurants, that sort of thing. They're really, really struggling. And if you lose them from the high street, you lose that additional footfall into all the other shops. Because if people aren't going in to meet their friend for a coffee or a bit of cake in the morning or whatever, then don't hop into the shop to buy bread, milk, maybe in one of the gift shops or whatever it might be, then the whole place starts to fall down. It's a domino effect.